if vertical scroll bar will come. That means if there are many items toward how to design with the help of CSS. So how much width you want, context. So this is overflow. Mostly while presenting any content, we use these options for overflow. Overflow can be hidden. Overflow can be scroll. Overflow can be auto. Already we used it in a concept called intra-document navigation. In our HTML itself, while learning about intra-document links, intra-document navigation, we learned this. So how we can design such options. So that means how to create the navigations and configure them. We designed such option. So intra-document navigations, inter-document navigations with the help of a concept called iframes. So we have learned that. So, but this is enough to understand. So even if you don't know that earlier, this is enough to understand how you can control overflowing. This can be given for any container, any div, any span. If it is having a lot of content and height width is not enough, then you can adjust that with the scrolling. So this is overflow, how you manage the overflow. So this is one example. Sometimes the requirement will be like, I want side by side. Now, can you tell me how I can keep this side by side? Suppose width is 300. How I can keep side by side? That means some more options are present. So side by side means in 2-3 columns I want to display. In 2-3 columns I want to display. So many are there. I want to display in 2-3 columns. Then in one column some options, in another column some options. I need to display. So these are continuous content. These are continuous content. So if I use the option columns count. So columns count. Columns count I defined as 2. That means they will arrange in 2 columns now. And you can see the 2 columns. So this is how it is displaying. But actually it is not just 2 columns only, because height is not enough. Then automatically it will go to the right side. Suppose if height is enough, height is only 60. Suppose height is 260, height is adjusted. Now it will be in 2 columns. So it depends on how much height you have defined. Suppose 200, the height will be like this. Suppose 100, height will be like this. So it will scroll to the next and you can scroll. It doesn't mean that you given 2 columns means it will give only 2 columns. Depends on height. We can arrange into columns. We can configure the column count, right? That's generally used for displaying in multiple columns. And when you are displaying in multiple columns, use this option. The option as column count. Additionally, how to keep the content there. So this is overflowing, how you can keep the content overflowing and display the content overflowing. So this is very much required while designing some complex examples, right? Already in the navigation, I showed you some more examples. So in the notes, while learning about links, so another example we have seen there, how to design overflow options. Yeah. Next, important for paragraphs also. Suppose, see, I will show you some paragraphs also. So let's create a simple design, overflow.html. And here I am configuring doc type HTML head title. So here say overflow. And in the body section, so we have a div. And in this div, so it is the class container. And this container is having some paragraphs of information. So we are copying some paragraphs of information and displaying that. Some paragraphs of information is configured here. So this is a paragraph. Okay. Let's copy and paste some paragraphs of information here. Yeah, copy and paste some paragraphs of information here. And generally, when you are configuring the div style, style is in the style, we have a container. And in the container, so we have so height as some 200 pixels, so 150, 130 pixel. And border as 2 pixel, so 2 pixel solid. And padding as 10 pixel. And this is how it looks like. That means when we run this, it looks in this way. Now the additional content, I want a scroll bar, then overflow scroll or overflow auto. That gives a vertical scroll bar so that in that area, I can scroll the content and display the content. We can scroll and display the content in that area. And already we learned a small design for navigation for this. Intra-document navigation, how we design. Inter-document navigation, how we define. So suppose height is some 400 pixel. Okay, and still the scroll bar will be there. Now some topics we can define there. Topics we can configure and define. Suppose this container we will keep inside a div. So in that div we have a nav, and in the navigation we have an unordered list item, anchor, some like electronics, another list item like anchor, some footwear, something like this. And we have a section. In the section, we have that div container. And what we do is, so this is the div. And I will write just div and configure that all so many divs are present. So in the direct body div, or let's keep a ID for this or a class. So class as main. Okay. So dot main. So dot main, and here display as grid. And grid template columns. So 2 fractions and 10 fractions. So it will keep the content in this way. So keep the content in this way. So for now the div border I am not giving. Container border I am not giving. You have some content. You have some content. Now, already I showed you in intra-document links with proper designs and all. So you may have several paragraphs. You may have several paragraphs. And in between these paragraphs, you have the headings, like we have a heading as home. The ID is home, okay? And after few paragraphs, so we have an ID. So we have an heading, so ID as electronics and electronics. And after few paragraphs again, so we have a heading, ID as footwear and footwear. So this is how we define. Okay. And now what we are doing here in the list, we are defining, already you know intra-document navigation. I will create a list item, anchor home. And here href is equal to hash home. And href is equal to hash electronics. And href is equal to hash footwear. But right side, you have everything scrolled with overflow. I click on electronics, electronics topic will come. Footwear, footwear topic will come. Home, home topic will come. From there, you can scroll. So anywhere you are there, I click on footwear, footwear will come. Electronics, electronics will come. From there, you can scroll. That means you see automatically a scroll bar will come. And you say footwear, it will start with that footwear. And home, it will start with that home. That's the navigation it is maintaining. This we already learned, we designed in a links concept. One more time, I'm just showing how this overflow works actually. That is the concept of text effects. Now, in that text directions and overflow. Now we have styling text like font, color, underline, superscript, subscript, shadows. So many text stylings will be there. Uppercase, lowercase, how to keep the first letter capitals, all these. So these are text styling related CSS that we will see in our next session. Okay. So tomorrow we will see how to handle the styling of text. Then we will go into CSS 2D and 3D options, 2D and 3D. If we can finish that, then we can go into Bootstrap now, working with Bootstrap and using Bootstrap. Tomorrow we will continue with this, okay?